Hi everyone, my name is Avinash Ananda. It's 4 p.m. Thank you for being here. I think Navneet Khurana will begin the program.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen who've joined in here. Thank you so much for being a part of this session. And I'm sure this session is going to be very, very enlightening and as well as exciting because we have Avinash Ananda, who is going to talk to us on a subject that all of us are eagerly awaiting to be prepared on. You see, Avinash Ananda is an internationally renowned master behavioral trainer, happiness strategist, success mentor, transformational keynote speaker, management consultant, author, and a leadership advisor. Now, he has been in the training industry and the motivational domain for almost 35 years, maybe more than 35, 40 years. And we are absolutely honored to have him with us. And without any more delay, I think I would request Avinash to start talking. And he's going to talk on the preparedness of trainers, motivational speakers, etc., people who are like us for the future in these testing times. So thank you so much, everyone, for being there. And over to Avinash.
Thanks, Navneet. Thank you very much. Is the audio okay?
Perfect. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Is the
So
video okay?
I would request everyone to put themselves on mute.
Only for this program, please. Otherwise, would love to hear you. And after some time, I will put myself on mute and start listening to all of you. So happy to be here with you. Thank you very much for being here. I got to see only a few names. The others, I don't know who you are, but thank you for being here. I'm very honored and happy to be addressing you on this subject because this subject has been my challenge. In these times, I was wondering what to do. I'm locked down in Bangalore. I live in Mumbai. I'm locked down in Bangalore, and most of my work that happens has been happening in Europe lately. So all the travel is stopped, and I've been dabbling a little bit. I'm technologically challenged. So I was thinking that if a trainer like me, or someone who is uh, not very tech savvy like me is undergoing some challenges. I'm sure others may be too. So and I realized a few things through these times. So I thought I'd like to share that with you, please. That's great. So what I'd like to do is see. I'm used to something very different, as I'm sure most people are. I'm used to live programs. I'm used to a lot of interactivity. My mentor Rishi Kumar Pandya used to say that use of too much PowerPoint shows that you have not much power and no real point to make. So conversation is what works for me. So this is a completely new medium, and I found the similarity between talking to a screen and also uh, doing seminars all over the world when I work with translators. And the similarity is this, that we have to be very, very specific. I think I hear a lot of sounds that are also coming in. These technical things are nice. I love the chirping of the birds. Is that Dr. Adil Malia? Is that yours? Ah, birds are gone. Okay. All right. So what I'd like to do is give you a structure of what I've put together. And then after that, we go a little more into detail in that. I will share with you some of my thoughts. And then after that, we will leave it open for some interaction and some questions and answers where everybody can share their views. The structure that I'd like to share with you is from a trainer's perspective, 3 points, and another 3 points from a learner's perspective. So if we look at using the virtual media more, if we look at using video more, if we look at using these kind of teleconference, web conferencing media more, then what is it that the trainer will need to think about or keep in mind as primary focus areas? So I looked at three, and I like to make things simple. So I look at it as A, B, and C. A, that I found that from a trainer's perspective, we need to have authority. Now, when I say authority, I don't mean authority in terms of projecting authority. I don't mean authority in terms of having power, but I mean authority in terms of being deeper subject matter experts. And authority in terms of having a kind of uh, a niche in terms of our own way of thinking. Because when Okay, great. So let me come to the point because I don't know how long this will last with these technical glitches. So I look at from the trainer's point of view. See, communication, the word comes from communicatus, which means it's a two. It implies that it's a two-way process. Mitraji, can you hear me? Okay, guys, can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible now.
Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience. So I was saying that the word communication comes from the Latin root communicatus, which is the past participle of communicare, which means to share and to participate, which implies that it's a two-way process. But this two-way process goes for a complete toss when we are using technology like this, which we're not very familiar with, and which is not always very reliable. And it also goes for a toss when we have to have that element that completes the loop, which is feedback. So here what we do is pray and pray, which means that we speak and we hope that the message is reaching you. And also the other thing is with attention spans getting lower and lower, research, popular research suggests that the human being's attention span, which was 12 seconds, has now come down to 8 seconds, which is lower than the attention span of a goldfish. However, this research has been debunked because there is further additional research that has been conducted, which says that we have great attention spans. If you look at kids who are binge watching TV on Netflix, or you look at kids who are on their computer games all the time, they have fantastic focus. So it's not that we have less focus, it is that we need to be able to grab the person's focus, because you cannot pay somebody to listen to you. It has to be compelling, it has to be engaging, there has to be something new. So I say that there are three things from a trainer's perspective, A, B, C. One is authority, which means we need to be able to have a greater authority over both our subject matter as well as our way of presentation. These two things. The second thing, B, is brand. From a trainer's perspective, we need to build a brand which has a niche of something that we stand for, which is unique. And C is connect. There needs to be a connect with the audience, because you cannot buy loyalty, you cannot buy interest, you have to win over hearts. So these are three A, B, C that a trainer will need to focus on a little more in these times where the world is going a little more virtual and there's so much of crowding of a place. If you need to be different, we need to have authority, brand, and connect. Unfortunately, I've seen too many people. See, the entry level to become a trainer or motivational speaker, most people think is very easy. All they need to do is know how to speak a little bit or have the confidence. But those of you who are senior, you know the amount of difference that there is between substance and just the packaging. So it's very important that we have the authority of the subject, the brand that we create for a niche, and the connect that we have with our audience. The three things from the learner point of view in these times, I think is very important, because the trainer has to ensure that these three things are delivered to the learner. The three things are also A, B, C, where A is added value. Today, with attention spans being so less, with choices being so much, and with us being bombarded with information from all over, unless we are able to give added value at every interaction, it's not going to be worth the while of the listener. So we need to give some benefit or added value, and we need to come to that very quickly. B is belief. The listener or the learner has to believe that he will learn something from that individual, or from the person, or from that system from where they have joined. So A is added value for the learner, B is belief in the training or the training system that the learner needs to have. Now these are the responsibility of the trainer, of the teacher. The teacher has to ensure that there is added value for the learner. The teacher has to ensure that there is belief in the learner about the training and the effectiveness of the training. And the C is comfort level. I found that sometimes if the voice is not okay of the trainer, or sometimes if something about the trainer is not of the, or to the liking of the listener, they can switch off. It could be very, very small things. It's very important that there is a comfort level that is maintained. Also, I'd like to propose that we redefine the whole term engagement, because I found that until technology reaches that particular stage, I've been working with companies and I've been exposed to different companies who are now in the edutech space. Some of them are very, very big organizations, and I found that what they cannot really recreate the live interaction that we have without this technology. And I'm a great believer in that, because that's probably all that I've done all my life. Uh, I'm sure some of you understand that and relate to that. But with technology, if we can create an engagement, not actually by interaction, because that is limited, but if we can create an interaction by engaging the minds of the people, by triggering introspection. So what I'm saying here, if you want sentence, I'm saying information alone does not create transformation. In the IRL, IRL is in the real life, IRL. So in IRL, the information plus interactivity creates the transformation, because we have the interaction, so that we also get the feedback as to whether the person is getting it or not. Here in the online world, if we have information and we add some introspection, so we throw out some questions, or we give some insights, and then we ask some questions and get the feedback, or even if we just throw out the question and get them to start thinking of how they can relate it to their own lives, so as relevant as we can make it, the better it is. Information plus introspection, which may lead to either an insight or an inspiration, and then hopefully implementation, because the implementation is not up to us unless we're able to design a program that can track the implementation. And I strongly suggest we do that, and there are several ways of doing it, but that would involve the personal time. I was speaking to some trainers from the US, now some people who've been working for some of the biggest names in the motivational speaking industry, training industry. I'm talking about Jack Canfield, I'm talking about Tony Robbins, I'm talking about John Maxwell, and all these guys. So I've been speaking to them a little bit on how they are reinventing themselves right now. So they have, yes, Dr. Adil Malia, is the core of success. I couldn't read the rest of it. I would love to. I don't know how I get that. What I've learned, what I've seen from them is that there are two ways that they are basically working at increasing their level of impact on people. But one of the key skills that they're looking, the two ways are, one is with recorded programs, the other is with live programs. But one of the most important skills is the ability to communicate and present better. I found, in terms of, I'll take up each of these areas from the trainer's perspective: authority, brand, and connect. I'd like to share with you a Sanskrit shlok. The shlok goes like this: Amantaram aksharo nashti, nashti mulam anaushadam, ayogya purusho nashti, yojikas tatra durlabha. Amantaram aksharo nashti, there is not a single letter of the alphabet from which a mantra cannot be made, or a holy hymn. Amantramakshano nashti, nashti mulam anaushadam. According to Ayurveda, there is not a single root of a plant which cannot be turned into a medicinal herb. It is said that in Ayurveda, when they went to Charka Swami, the students went to him and wanted to give him a Guru Dakshina. He said, as my Guru Dakshina, what you should do is go out and find me one root from which I cannot make a medicinal herb. And they failed in that. There is not a single root of a plant from which a medicinal herb cannot be made. Ayogya Purusho Nashti. There is not a single individual who does not have the potential for greatness. Yojakas Tatra Durlabha. Yojakas Tatra Durlabha is what is rare, is finding the individuals who can bring out the best from the individual, who can bring out the mantra from the letters, who can bring out the medicinal herb from the root of the plant. And the technology for that is what is important. And this technology, as you rightly said, Dr. Malay, is changing. So the content remains the same, the depth remains the same, the individual insights need to be added. The essence of teaching, the fundamentals of teaching don't change. But what changes is the technology, and so the style of the delivery of the medium. I have seen one thing happening, that in terms of ABC, authority, brand, and connect. Authority only happens when we are lifelong learners. I have seen one thing, unfortunately, that ego comes in the way of learning. I look at it this way. I say it's like the footwear, while you get into the temple, you leave the footwear outside and you go inside. Similarly, we need to leave our egos out when we are going to learn something new, and we are novices at new technology. We are novices at various ways of presenting. We need to pay a little more attention there. What happens as teachers or trainers is that when we present ourselves as very confident, but that confidence can become a barrier if we try to apply it when we need to learn. So there are certain times that we need to learn and certain times we need to teach. Project the confidence when we are teaching, but please have that openness and have the humility when it comes to learning. Another strange thing that I've seen with many trainers is that they don't talk about where they learned from. They don't talk about their source. I was intrigued to learn that Sri Ravi Shankar, Deepak Chopra, all of these learned from Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Anthony Robbins learned from Richard Bandler, who was a pioneer. Richard Bandler and John Grant, the pioneers of NLP. Much of his work is derived from there. Mindfulness, the entire system of mindfulness, the Institute of Mindfulness, John Kabat-Zinn in California, he picked it up from Sri Goenkaji, which is from Vipassana. So from Vipassana, you have so many things. Out of that one small element, which is focus on the present moment, he took and made it into this entire mindfulness movement. So what I'm saying here is it is time for us to collaborate. It is time for us to share, but it is also very important that we give credit where credit is due. We come out with original ideas, but when we take ideas from somewhere else, we must give them credit. This is part of that building of our own authority, which comes from the mentality of giving and not just getting people to sign on to another course. So the concept that I believe is very important right now for leaders is for leaders to be learners and every leader to have a mentor. The analogy I found is that we are all in a box. Imagine that we are in a box and the instructions to get out of the box are written outside the box. So only a person who is looking at it from an outside perspective, objective perspective, as Krishna says, drashta bhav, being able to look at it from the outside will be able to give us instructions of how to come out of this box. So very often, at some point of time, we tend to block ourselves from learning, or it's like Marshall Goldsmith says, what got you here won't get you there. The rules are changing. We need to learn from younger people. I have people who are in my organization and they know so much more than me, and my job is only facilitation. So the concept that the leader must know everything is changing. What we need to have is adaptability. What we need to have is openness. What we need to have is the ability to nurture talent. These are all the things that I feel. And also the openness to get feedback, like Carol Dweck calls the growth mindset. Can you get feedback without feeling bad yourself? Regardless of how the feedback is given. Of course, we teach people how to give feedback so that the feedback is constructive and not destructive. The feedback is related to the action and not to the individual. All that is fine. But as trainers, as motivational speakers, what are our blind spots? Can we have some people who we trust, who have both the intention as well as the expertise of giving us feedback and showing us the mirror as to what we can do better? So that's where authority is concerned. Added value. Video is freezing. Navneet, this is okay now? So when we talk about added value, it is very important that we don't approach any situation or any training program from a perspective of trying to give only so much now and the rest later. It's very important that we are givers. The art of living is the art of giving, we say. The more you give is the more you get. However, what you get, you might not get from the same source where you give. So the concept is that if we can build raving fans, if we can build a tribe, that will be fantastic. I found one more thing, that for videos, for example, a simple thing, because we have to get to the point immediately. If we follow a format of benefit, problem, and authority. In the beginning, if we are making videos as a trainer, my suggestion would be start off with the benefit. Say, in this video, you're going to learn this. Be very specific about what is the benefit right in the beginning of the video. Benefit, the format I'm sharing with you is benefit, problem, and then authority. So for example, I will give you just an example. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how you can reduce your stress. Stress is the #1 killer in today's day and age of uncertainty. My name is Avinash Ananda, and I have been teaching happiness for the past 30 years, and I've got a system by which you can instantly change your mood and release your stress. I'll show you 3 ways to do that, and I'd like to do that right now. So what I shared with you right now followed a particular format, which was benefit. I tell what is the benefit. Second is I tell what is the problem, which is the problem that plagues everybody. And then I say where I come from and how I can help you to achieve that. The point is that the more planning we do, the more scripting we do, the tighter will be the message and the more impactful it will be. The difference between writing and reading, I say, is like the difference between drinking drinking and smoking. I don't advocate either drinking or smoking, but what I say is that that writing is a more committed act. When you write down something, it's committed. So similarly, drinking, you need the glass, you need the environment, you need the friends. So it's a more committed act in that sense. This is just an analogy. Smoking, people tend to do it anywhere. So it's a more non-committal act. So verbal communication tends to be more non-committal. So if a politician says something and somebody says, hey, you said that, he says, no, I didn't say it, I was misquoted by the press. So they get away with the words. But what I found is with digital media gaining more prominence, with technology coming into the picture more, even verbal communication has become committed, because whatever you say is recorded for life. So it's very important that we begin to take charge of our verbal communication. This is like Mahatma Gandhi. Before he became father of nation, I'd like to share with you what he said and what he did when he was in the courtroom for the first time. And I quote, he said, my heart sank into my boots and my head was doing likewise. The entire court was reeling. I sat down and told the agent I could not conduct the case. This is the man who later moved millions just with his power of communication. His first experience was like having a nervous breakdown. And when he was asked as to how he overcame that, he said, this experience has taught me, and in his own words, the economy of words. I can give myself a certificate that a thoughtless word has never escaped my tongue nor my pen. So even the simple thing like thinking before we speak, doing a little bit of planning and preparation before we speak. So this is one part of it. The other part of it in the connect is, despite doing the planning, being able to be spontaneous. Now, while this sounds like a paradox, this makes a huge difference when we work with digital media, when we work with videos, because we're talking about being so prepared that you don't need to worry about what you are saying, and you can be completely in the moment and adapt to the situation. A quick story I'd like to share with you is about a priest who prepares to give a sermon to 200 people for 2 hours. And he lands up in his church auditorium. In his preparation, he has prepared even the body language. If you get into and study some of the best public speakers and motivational speakers in the world, including some of the evangelists, they plan, they prepare. Their body language, your video is frequently, I cannot even see what you wrote, Mr. Dr. Malia. It is very important to prepare and plan and align your body language to your words. At the same time, it is important to adapt to the changing situation. This priest prepared this sermon for 200 people for 2 hours, landed up in his church and saw only one Texas cowboy sitting there with crossed arm, crossed leg, big hat. He said, son, I have prepared a sermon for 200 people for 2 hours. There's only you. What should I do? He said, Father, I ain't got much knowledge about this church and sermon. I'm a cowboy. I only know my horses and my cows. And I tell you this, Father, that if I prepare a whole lot of food for a whole lot of horses and I go to the stable, but I see only one horse, I will still feed him. Which means he's giving him a message that regardless of how the situation has changed, as a professional, we must do our job. So the priest does his job. He points out to heaven and he does his whole drama along with his speech. At the end of it, he asks the guy who's still sitting like this. He says, son, how did you like it? He said, Father, is it unmuted now? So the guy says, the Texas cowboy says that, Father, no, you have given me a 2-hour speech, which you had prepared for 200 people. If I got a whole lot of food and I went to the stable and I saw only one horse, I will feed him, but I will not feed him all the food. Which means that if things change, we need to also change along with the situation, because everything cannot go as planned. And the only way in which we can adapt is if we are prepared. If we are prepared, we should be so prepared that we're willing to let go of our preparation and adapt to the moment, to what happens here. So just to recap, you cannot hear me? I'm just recapping for those who get at least this much. From a trainer's perspective, we need to have authority. Authority can only be built when we add value by learning more, by being open to learn. Belief, we need to build our brand and we need to build the belief in our learners. that we will add value, and we need to have the connect with the audience, and so that they have a comfort level. These are the three things that I wanted to share with you. And I also have spoken about, as far as brand building is concerned, it's very important that we have a brand positioning, we have a brand story, and we also have a brand promise. And it's also important that our value is more than our promise, because very often we promise more and deliver less. We must always deliver more than what we promise, and the promise should be coherent with our own. Would appreciate some practical tips. Is that what you're saying? Huh? Sandeep Mitraji, I have one, for example. Yes, okay. What I would share with you, for example, is please work on. So, like I gave you a formula from a video point of view, I can give you one more format, for example, of arriving at your brand positioning. Uh, if the brand positioning, for example, the formula is this: talk about a problem, it goes with problem. Second is talk about, there is a, see, this is the formula used in Shark Tank. Have you seen Shark Tank? When they go and pitch for their presentation, because they have very little time and they have to get the idea across. So what they do is they follow this formula. Most of them, they say, for example, did you know that stress is the #1 killer of people these days? Or did you know that employee engagement is at an all-time low? But there is a solution. Okay? And the solution is, according to research, that if we laugh more, if we use our body physiology more, then we will be able to increase the number of T cells and B cells, our immune system goes up, and our stress levels go down. My name is Avinash Ananda, and I've been teaching happiness and I've been teaching stress. And what I'd like to show you is 3 ways or 5 ways to, or a system for you to reduce your stress on a consistent basis. So the formula is, or the way of presenting yourself is that you say the problem, you talk about the fact that there is a benefit, and then you say why you are the right person to provide that benefit. All I am saying to you is get niche, please. Second thing I'm saying to you is be authentic, please, because authenticity is captured. Like the mirror does not lie, the camera does not lie either. And if there is no substance, people will see through that immediately. If there is no care and concern to deliver, people will see through that. So authenticity is very important for people to have that belief. Neuromarketing, I suggest you explore behavioral economics. Behavioral economics is a new field which talks about how people are irrational and how you can use your own way of communicating to overcome or even use the biases that the conscious mind has. Simple example, since you talked about practical things: use of your hands or use of your body if your entire body is seen in the camera. Whenever we say, never point at people, we know that, but whenever we say success, whenever we talk about success, if you anchor it, or do a neural subconnect to yourself or to the other person, or you say, and you're happy. So for example, I'll just give you a quick example just to show it to you. There are 2 types of people on this planet. There are the Dukhi Atmas and the Sukhi Atmas, or there are the negative people and the positive. Look at what I'm doing here. I'm saying negative people is away. I'm not pointing to anybody, because these things at a subconscious level get connected. It's a neural subconnect. So I say there are the negative people and there are the positive people. I point to myself, or I bring the hand here. So and then I say that if the negative people, if you as a positive person try to bring the negative person and make them positive, the negative people will make the positive person negative. Okay. So I'm just giving you an example that every little thing in terms of our body language, in terms of our tonality, all of these things convey messages beyond. We have micro expressions which goes beyond regular body language, and these impact the subconscious mind in the least amount of time. What is the maximum amount of impact that we can make and really allow things to be retained? I don't like this webinar system because there is no way for interacting. I will stop this right now and get into some kind of interaction if you have any questions. But regularly, for example, I would say there is a system that we have called neural subconnect, which we use even in the interactions that we have, not only the body language, but also the eyes are a window of expression, and there can be a lot of information that we can get with the eyes. There are different types of listeners. You have the visual people, You can be the audio visual presentation. What you are saying is audio, what you are doing is visual. The visual people like to see, the kinesthetic people like to feel, so we have emotions and stories more. The auditory people like to listen, and you have the tactile people who like to do some activities, which is very difficult to do in this kind of medium. But there are several ways of doing it. So this is what I'd like to share with you. I am a firm believer in script. Learning the script, mastering the script, and then going beyond the script. So I'd like to stop here by just giving you a acronym, and the acronym is, we need to be honest, we need to be authentic. So the acronym is from heart, HEART, where H stands for humility, E stands for excellence, A stands for adaptability, R stands for relevance, and T stands for trust. If we work from our heart, I'm sure we'll be able to learn new technologies and overcome these challenging times. Give, 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 it will come back in some way. And be unique and be different. So I'll stop here. If you have any questions or if you have any comments, I would love to hear that, please. Please talk about your online programs.
So everyone, please type your questions in the chat box so that Avinash can.
Yeah, I cannot see the whole chat box. Okay, would you please talk about the online courses? I have 4 courses that I'm offering. There are actually 5 courses that I'm offering. I strongly believe that we need to refresh our content. So for next generation leaders, going deeper into this subconscious communication, or going deeper into bringing information and putting it together from different places, uh, there are 4 courses. One is called the leadership. One is on leadership, the art of leadership. One is on happiness, called the emotional mastery program. One is on execution excellence. You may know everything, but at the point of execution, are we ready to execute in a way that will give us the maximum impact, which includes being in flow, as Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi calls it. And the 4th program is science of success. So there are 4 programs: leadership, happiness, excellence, and success. These 4 programs are throughout in the month of June. They're going to be live sessions. We're going to have a lot more time, and it's not going to be on this medium. It's going to be on Instagram, where we will have a lot of time to interact, and a few people coming on board, and we'll have conversation too. So 1 hour every day, 1 day a week for 4 weeks. So this is 4-day program, Art of Leadership. So every Monday in June, we have Art of Leadership from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. The price of this investment for this program is 10,000 rupees. However, there is a special offer that we are giving through Evoke Potential, which is at 5,000 rupees. How you sign up is that you contact Evoke Potential or go to my website, avinashananda.net, and sign up there. There's a WhatsApp number also that's given to you. If you attend any one program, instead of 10,000 rupees, it is 5,000 rupees if you sign up today. If you attend all 4 programs, instead of 20,000, it is 15,000 rupees. This is what I have for you. Beyond this, once we get to interact individually, I would love to share with you some of the more detailed programs that we've got, which are related to motivational speaking, life coaching, and training. These are 4 programs for content and for latest content on the subjects of leadership, happiness, excellence, and success. Monday will be leadership, Tuesday will be excellence, Thursday will be happiness, Wednesday will be success, for every week in the month of June. So my suggestion to you is, if you come on there, it will be fantastic. I will definitely give you a lot of new information, and I will look forward to the opportunity to interact with you, because that's what I'm yearning for. This is the information for you, please. Any other questions? This is the information I have. Nowadays, any questions you picked up along the way, because I could not read anything? Any comments, any questions? Thank you so much. Thank any of you, if you can put down here what you already heard from me, because if it went too fast. So for example, Sakshi, she elaborated what is heart: humility, excellence, relevance, and trust. And then I spoke about the three things, which is authority, brand, and connect. And from the learner's point of view, added value, belief, and comfort level. If we take care of these and we be lifelong learners, and we take care and we understand that communication is not just at the verbal level, but also at subconscious level, and we keep adding value, and we take a little more time to prepare our script and reach a level where we can go beyond the script. This would be my suggestion and my learning. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate being here with you. Navneet, would you like to say something? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Navneet, anything you want to say? Rajat, anything you want to say?
I just thank you so much. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
All right, so everyone, thank you so much for being a part of this session today, and thank you, Avinash, for being so informative, as usual. So what I've done is I've shared the screen right now, which says that if you want any further inquiries or information or on the registrations, please contact this. So I would request everyone to take a picture of this e-learn at evokepotential.in, and you can. That's the website group that I've created. So that's the WhatsApp group that I've created. So if you can ask questions there, I will share the registration details and process on that too.
Navneet, Navneet, we have 3 minutes left. We have 4 minutes left. So in 2.5 minutes, I want to share something which will add some value. Okay.
Yeah, sure, please.
Because, thank you, Dr. Adil Malik. Thank you so much for being here. Would love to interact with you more. 2.5 minutes, please. I want to share something which I hope will add practical value to all the trainers. Very often we go through difficulties. I want to share with you a very quick experience of mine, and I want to share with you a technique called MetaMind cognitive vacuum. MetaMind cognitive vacuum. We say that when we go and listen to somebody, we should have an open mind. But what do you do when the person in front of you does not have an open mind? This is what I suggest we do. This is make in them a cognitive vacuum. Imagine a triangle where two people are at two ends of the triangle. You are the communicator and that is the listener. Your job is to get them to the tip of the triangle and get them to focus so they minimize their other thoughts and they're focused entirely on you. This happened to me once when I was in front of a group of college students who had come there for a football fair, and they were not at all interested in listening, and I was sent there to talk to them about leadership, which they were not interested in learning. And I drank 2 glasses of water, and one of them shouted out, "Oh, you're a 2-glass man." I don't know what that means, but everybody started laughing. Now, in that situation, what did I do? I just want to share with you this technique. What I did was I said, "Who's that?" So the first thing in the technique is be different. I didn't say, "Ladies and gentlemen, how are you?" Nothing. "Who's that?" And the guy stood up. He said, he said, "I'm the guy who said it." I said, "Who said that?" He said, "2-glass man." "Who said?" He said, "I said it." I said, "Good." He said, "What?" So they were surprised. They didn't expect to be praised for disturbing something. I said, "Good." I said, "That reminds me of a story." And instantly I launched off into a story. And I told the story of this guy who went to America. Every day he used to go to the bar and he used to order 2 glasses of whiskey, 2 glasses of vodka, Now remember this, they're not expecting me to talk about bar. So we have number 1, be different. Number 2, topic of interest. Number 3, topic of relevance, because 2 glass, I connected the story with that. I said, every day he used to go to the bar, order 2 glasses, this, 2 glasses, that. The bartender was curious. He said, "Why you order 2 glasses? Why you don't put it in 1 glass?" He says, "No, I have an arrangement with my friend who is in Australia. Whenever he drinks for me. Whenever I drink for him. So we are sitting here quarantined separately, but I'm drinking for him and thinking of him." He said, "Man, crazy people, strange, no, different strokes for different folks." So the bartender was giving him this 2 glass every day. 2 weeks later, he came back and said, "Give me only 1 glass whiskey, please." The bartender got afraid. He said, "What happened? Your friend died?" He said, "No, I stopped drinking. So I'm drinking for my friend." So all the students over there, 500 students, they started laughing. They came to the tip of the triangle. The technique I used there was number 1, be different. Number 2, topic of interest. Number 3, topic of relevance. Number 4, use of some emotion. And number 5, speed. Because generally when we talk for 100, 120 words per minute, but the mind processes at the stage of 400. So if we talk faster, some people may miss some things out, but most people will remain riveted. I hope this tool helps. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Avinash, and thank you everyone.
Mr. Navneet, anything more?
I think that's all right. All I wanted to tell everyone was to please connect on that WhatsApp group that I shared. And,
Yeah, we'll be sharing the video also. Number 1, And number two, we tried to get the best person on the stage where a lot of people cannot interact with Mr. Avinash. So he's in front of everyone. That is number one. So I request all the participants who join to ask three questions to themselves. Is the course very important for us? Do I want to get a teaching on this? And the third question, if I need a teaching, who should teach me? If the three questions, they find out a reason, I think people should join this course. It's a very, very important course for people to join. So that's the only thing which I need to say. Thank you so much. From Rajat.
Thank you, Rajat, and thank you everyone for being a part of this session. And I would just like to sign out and say goodbye to you, and see
Hello.
you on the